Have you ever wondered why these two specific triggers exist in the editor? I mean, there's nothing wrong about these two triggers existing, but the game already has two substitute triggers. Basically, for the reverse trigger, the arrow trigger already does what the reverse trigger does, plus more. And for the GP offset trigger, the camera offset trigger does what it can do, and more. Other new triggers from 2.2, like the 3 item triggers, don't have this issue. The random trigger also has an advanced random trigger, but both triggers do have a purpose where it depends on the situation. So what do both the reverse trigger and the GP offset trigger do for the level? Well, naturally the reverse trigger makes the player move backwards, and the GP offset trigger changes the camera's offset relative to the player. But then you look at the arrow trigger and the camera offset trigger, and you'll realize the other triggers are obsolete. The arrow trigger also allows you to make the player move backwards, but you can also change the direction to go up, down, forwards, and backwards. On top of the fact you can change the levels channel and the player's velocity. Both are absent in the reverse trigger, and both parameters in the reverse trigger do nothing. While the camera offset trigger allows you to change the camera offset, but also gives you freedom on how long the transition lasts and gives you easing effects. Both are absent in the GP offset trigger. Though what isn't documented anywhere is that the Y offset parameter in the GP offset trigger doesn't work, yet the camera offset trigger can change the Y offset just fine. In fact, in the GP offset trigger, you're required to set both the X and Y values to 25 if you want to reset the camera's offset, whereas the camera offset trigger lets you use 0 to reset the camera's offset. So when you dissect these 4 triggers, it makes you wonder why 2 obsolete triggers exist in the final game. I guess you could say that both triggers were meant to be early iterations of the new triggers, then RobTop made the new triggers and realized he can't remove the old triggers without completely changing large chunks of code. If that's the case, then I don't know why RobTop wouldn't just continue to work on the old triggers and then port the features from the new triggers into the old ones, so that way he could just change the sprites later on. Even trying to combine the old and new triggers to make a unique use, the new triggers can already do what the combinations do, but simplified. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing a niche feature, but it is interesting to note, especially coming from someone who used to develop games.